But you know the worst part that I really am just like, and now they're celebrating and boom, you have to have like roster cuts. Like it's like a short-lived like happiness. Like I don't know, it'd be really sad when you watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't believe Shyanne Sellers was waived. Well, maybe I can. She dropped pretty far in the draft. Plus, that PR perfect answer from Coach Nakase probably leans more towards her knee concerns. But more often than not, even if a pro hopeful hears their name on draft night, there is an insanely low percentage you actually make it to the season opener. Players filled with potential and talent watch their careers change in a split second. Because how did the Golden State Valkyries draft Shyanne Sellers at the 17th pick just to turn around and waive her before even playing a game? The Golden State Valkyries are the WNBA's newest expansion team, and they just used their second ever pick in history on someone they didn't even watch in a preseason game. It's hard enough trying to battle for your spot in training camp, but that invitation, that hearing your name called during the draft, is supposed to give you a little bit of a leg up in making it through training camp and at least playing a few games. For so many WNBA hopefuls, the dream ends before it even begins. Drafted one night and you're cut within a month. But luckily for Sellers, she was picked up by the Atlanta Dream. I do think that's a good look for the Dream, considering how high of a prospect she was. We won't really know why the Valkyries cut her probably until later, until future statements are released. But they were very guard heavy, considering who they've already signed and who they could have as backup guards. Overall, you start to question why they picked Sellers at 17 to begin with. But it's not just them. Just because they're the newest team doesn't mean it's not a league-wide problem. Their number 5 pick is pretty much a draft and stash. Adding to an already complex problem, a lot of international players hope to get drafted just to use that as leverage for teams in their home countries. So even after they get selected and somewhat take that draft slot, they really don't plan on playing in the W, at least not in that first year. It could take a year or two just for them to decide to play in the W, and really all the team did was secure the rights to that player when and or if they decide to play in the WNBA. Currently, the WNBA has 13 teams. Each team can only carry 12 players on a roster at the start of the season. That's only 156 roster spots for the entire league. The NBA has about 450, the NFL has something like 1,600. So while the talent pool is extremely deep, there's not a lot of opportunity in the WNBA. So again, specifically for an expansion team, you have a lot of hopefuls believing they have a real shot, or at least getting a real shot to try out, to show off their skills. This is a league-wide problem. Overall, most first-round picks will make the roster, but even then, a lot of them can get cut. Second and third round picks have an even harder battle making the final cut. A lot of them are waived during training camp. And looking at it closely, the success rate of rookies making it to opening day on the roster has been declining over the last few years. In 2022, only 17 players made it to opening day, a 47% success rate. In 2023, only 15 players made it to opening day. In 2024, out of the 36 hopefuls who were drafted, who heard their names called by teams, only 13 made it to opening day, a 36% success rate. And in 2025, we're already seeing a lot of the same work. Now, the problem isn't necessarily the cuts. Every league has cuts, every league makes roster changes, and you have to make it through training camp. Where the WNBA is having an issue is where they're losing these players, or rather why they're losing players that are this talented. Even going back so far to look at somebody like Charlie Collier, a number 1 pick who somehow flamed out just within a couple of years. But this keeps happening for a few reasons. Number 1, limited roster spots. 12-player limits means very little flexibility for development and the team overall. They decide on the road they're taking, whether it's the championship road or rebuild road or middle of the pack, and who fits with that design and plan stays, and who doesn't has to be cut. Along with that, the team has a salary cap, so they have to pick and choose who they pay very specifically. And more oftentimes than not, and very recently, a team is going to favor veterans and international players, which kind of ties into the last reason with the WNBA having no developmental league. There's no G League, There's no two-way contracts. What exists really is the NCAA or college basketball, and American players have to complete a certain number of years in college before they're even eligible to declare for the draft, which leads to a team like the Golden State Valkyries starting their inaugural year filled with international players, filled with players who've been playing for a very large chunk of their lives and did not have to spend 4 to 5 years in college, which essentially causes problems like the Malaysia Fulwiley situation, where regardless of the talent, she wants to be in the pros, and she has to navigate through all this bureaucracy just to get there. She may not want to be in college that long or at all. So whereas the NBA has a one and done rule, or at one point even allowed players to come right in from high school, Fulwiley has to play in the transfer portal and do all these sort of gymnastics when she probably just doesn't want to be there. Or for women's basketball in the USA, the minor leagues. But there is hope in the near future, because the new CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, the negotiation the players are having with the league can change all of this. They can make changes to the salary cap, not just the numbers themselves, but finding other ways to have players on the roster that don't impact the salary cap if they're injured. Or you play with the hard cap and make it a soft cap and have some type of luxury tax like the NBA. At the same time, they can address the NCAA rule and negotiate some changes for the college players that want to go into the pros, so we stop losing them to years in college and or going overseas. They could also address the roster size. They can increase the roster size, even if it's just 1 to 2 players. And once you add in Toronto Tempo, the Portland team that's coming in the near future, the Cleveland team that's coming in the near future, that's a lot of open spots for young players. This will be one of the most important CBAs, especially for the WNBA, but probably in women's sports in general. There are a lot more eyes on women's sports and women's basketball right now. It's just got more attention on it that someone like Sellers drafted that high and is somewhat a fan favorite, won't make it to the floor for the team she was drafted on. And while you want to understand where the Valkyries are coming from with this decision, it's hard to see, not only because they selected her, so in a lot of ways you said you wanted her on the team, but she did seem like a good future pick. Like, even if you didn't throw her out there right now, it would be a great move for the fans that are starting to tune into the W and coming over from the NCAA. As a business, it's just bad optics for the WNBA. And while we know the salary cap will be addressed, player salaries will be addressed, international players and player eligibility will be negotiated, I really hope there's a discussion for partnering for their developmental league. Whether it's with a league like Unrivaled or even the WBL, there are ways to still allow the fans to see some of their favorite players if they're not going to make it in the W, if they're not going to make it on a roster. Because if they did have some type of G League, Sellers wouldn't have been waived. She just would have been starting for the G League team. And it would have been the same for players like Abby Myers and Charisma Osborne and Mackenzie Forbes, and players who may have made it past their rookie year and get to their sophomore and junior years just to get cut. Players that still deserve a shot to make it and see if they fit even on other teams. But as of right now, they have no options. The talent is there, the passion is there, the competitive spirit is definitely there. But without room to grow, way too many WNBA rookies will see their dreams cut short before they even begin. I really think it's time for the league to at least start talking about a true developmental system, a space to nurture the rising stars, not just release them out to the world. Because growing the game means investing in its future, one rookie at a time.
People who really work hard and it's just they pretty good and then it's just no roster spots. It's crazy, but this is an exciting time. I feel like, bruh, you get invited to go to that draft in New York, you know what I mean? And you get to walk on that stage and grab that hat, that's something to be grateful for. So, man, watching it was just so inspiring. I can't lie. Not everybody get to do that. That's lit.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.